If you have spent any amount of time in South Korea, you can't escape the name Lotte. It's a large chaebol or massive conglomerate that has its hands in just about everything. There are the hotels, the department stores, and of course, the duty-free shops not only in the airport, but freestanding as well. There's also the tower rising up from Gangnam, which has been plagued by controversy and construction problems. Lotte also has a confectionery brand, a fast food empire, not to mention a baseball team, and of course, an amusement park. Lotte is a massive company with some 80 business units stretched across Asia. Now, most of them are in South Korea. And while the company does identify itself as Korean, that may be a hard case to make. The company was founded by Shin Kyuk-Ho in 1948, and while Shin was born in Ulsan, South Korea during the Japanese occupation, the company itself began in Tokyo, Japan. The bulk of the company's profits come from its South Korean subsidiaries, but their governing holding companies are in Japan. The company itself is now embroiled in a very public and very nasty succession battle as Shin Kyuk-Ho's two sons vie for control, and unfortunately, things are playing out like something you'd see in a soap opera. Now, in this particular case, we have two brothers, one in South Korea and one in Japan. They're both trying to outmaneuver one another to gain control of the family business, Lotte Corporation. And they're doing so with little regard as to how their actions affect the company. Shin Dong-ju, the older brother, conducted an interview in Japanese, making the case that the company and he should be in control in Tokyo. The interview sparked off a national debate in South Korea as to whether or not Lotte was a South Korean company or a Japanese company, with some in South Korea taking a very negative view of Lotte Corporation. In fact, the Korea Times reports consumer groups have begun boycotting Lotte and some investors are shying away, which is nothing short of nationalistic pride and anti-Japanese sentiment. After all, both of these men were born in Japan, they were raised in Japan, and in fact didn't receive South Korean citizenship until sometime in their 30s. There's even talk of the government getting involved and investigating its organizational structure and to see if there's any funny money business going on. Shin Dong-bin, the younger brother and the head of the South Korean arm of Lotte, has been in damage control mode. He said, "Lotte is a Korean company. 95% of the group's total sales come from Korea. Lotte is owned not only by the founding family, but also by employees, shareholders, and customers." Look, Lotte was founded in Japan, and the holding companies that own the majority of the subsidiaries are also based out of Japan. And you know what? That makes it a Japanese company. Don't believe me? Here are two examples. Coca-Cola is an American company, but more than half of its income comes from outside the United States, and no one thinks of Coke as anything but an American company, despite the fact that the bulk of its profits come from outside the U.S. Here's another example. It's also true Columbia Pictures began as an American company, even once owned by Coca-Cola, but today it's owned by Sony, so on paper, Columbia Pictures is a Japanese company. Just because that 95% of Lotte's profits comes from South Korea doesn't change the fact that this particular multinational company is run out of Japan. That some in South Korea take issue with the nature of this company demonstrates a deep-rooted, nationalistic, anti-Japanese rhetoric that is still present today, and quite frankly, it's pathetic. In fact, last year, at a Liberation Day celebration, kids were given water guns to shoot Japanese soldiers. With programs like these, one has to ask not only if South Korea wants to move past the events of World War II, but if it wants to. The occupation by Japan has created a national identity, that of a victim. And it's one identity Seoul isn't eager to change.